Hello, thank you for stopping by. The title of this discussion today is I Hope This Makes You Feel Loved. And I got the idea for this title from a letter that my grandson wrote when he was in elementary school as a class project, a writing project. He wrote the letter to his mother, and I'd like to take a moment and read it for you, if you don't mind. It says, Dear Mom, and I'm going to read it just the way he wrote it, no editing. It's the way he wrote it. It's beautiful, just the way it is. You are the one true person in my life that I can truly trust in everything I do. I can always count on you. You have helped me to help others and think of others before me. You've worked so hard all your life to help us throughout ours. You have 2 jobs and you work very hard. I love all the gifts and all the love you have gave me. You always give me so much hope in life. My life is so much better in all that you do. I can never thank you enough, but this is a start. And you have took common courtesy to an uncommon level. Thank you. You are always so helpful in all that you do. You have went above and beyond, and I am touched and grateful. I hope that this note makes you feel loved. Now, while the entire note is a beautiful note, what I think is the most beautiful thing about it is the very last line. It hit me and I said, I have to talk about this because I hope this makes you feel loved. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could go through our lives, our daily lives as adults, with that in the foremost, the front of our mind. I hope this makes you feel loved. And when we do something, when we say something to others, will it make them feel loved? And I thought, well, what a challenging thing for us, and what a good thing for us if we were to adopt that type of an exercise where we had in the front of our minds, I hope this makes you feel loved. And if what we are ready to do or what we're about to say doesn't really fit that, maybe we should think about whether we really need to do or say that, that we were planning on doing. So let's talk about that today. What comes through that letter very clearly and is a cornerstone of expressing love to others is gratitude. Gratitude and appreciating what others do, appreciating the world around us, appreciating life. And you know, that is one way that we can love others and express good feelings toward others, is appreciate what they do. Be grateful for what they do. And I mean everybody. It could be a clerk at the counter, a waitress, a waiter, the person who fixes your car, anything. Look for ways to compliment others and to make them feel good. And you know, what I have found is one of the most effective ways of doing that is to compliment someone when they're in the vicinity where they can overhear what's being said, or right in the middle of a group of people when they're standing there, this person, to compliment them to the others. What a wonderful thing that is. And it doesn't have to be a major thing, something that was worthy of the Nobel Peace Prize. It can be any small thing. It can be a gift they have. It can be something thoughtful that they did, or something about their person, about their heart, about their character, to make a small comment. Think about how you feel when someone says something nice about you and you happen to hear about it or overhear it. And it's such a small thing, it doesn't cost a thing. And that's one way that we can express gratitude and appreciation for others. The other thing that we could do to help people feel loved and to help us express love is to be kind. Dr. Wayne Dyer, a famous author, used to say, if you have the choice of being kind or being right, always choose kind. Now, there's times where we have to draw the line in the sand, and we have to stand up for what we believe, and we have to do and say what's right. But in my observation, that is a relatively small part of the things that we do take exception and argue about. I have heard people get upset trying to agree on how many gallons of gas a certain pickup truck model can hold. How big is the gas tank? And get upset about it, get angry, and it causes an argument among 3 or 4 people. Is it really important as far as the size of that gas tank, or whether it's shorter to travel by turning to the left, or turning to the right? Is one 2 miles shorter than the other? I don't know if we really need to draw a line in the sand and make an issue out of those. It can be embarrassing to people if we point out that they've pronounced a word wrong, or they've gotten a historical fact wrong, or an actor in a movie who starred in this movie. We have to ask ourselves, is it really important enough to make a big deal out of it or not? If we're talking about matters of human rights and justice, then maybe we need to hold our ground and speak out. But I'm going to say that 95% of the time, I'm going to say that probably 99% of the time, the things that we debate and argue about and have to prove that the other person is wrong don't fall in that category. And so that's what Dr. Dyer was referring to when he said, if you have the choice between being kind or being right, always choose kind. Maybe you are right, and maybe in your heart you know that the shortest way across town is to go to the left. It's 2 miles shorter because you measured it. Well, does it really matter that you prove it, though? Especially if it might jeopardize a friendship or create some embarrassment. Is it really worth it? And we're talking here probably about social grace and manners. And so it's something to think about. Decide whether it's worth fighting over. Is the relationship worth risking for being right? So where you can, just choose to be kind. And you'll be glad you did. And the other thing that we can do, as my grandson's letter showed, is we can be encouraging and uplifting in others. It's sort of like being a cheerleader, but we don't have to jump up and down and clap and holler and yell. We can just let the person know that we have confidence that whatever their situation, that might be a serious situation, that could be an illness, there could be a small situation, that they have the inner resources to see it through and to find a way, to find a path, a solution that's best for them. And people need to know that, not so much that we have confidence in them, but really they need to know that they can have confidence in themselves. And how Think again how you feel when you're around someone who's uplifting and encouraging. Isn't that a great feeling? Don't you feel like giving it a try? Don't you feel like it won't matter so much if I try and fail? It'll be okay if people are there to support us. So you be one of those people that encourage and support others. And I think one of the important things we can do in life that we forget about is laugh. We can look for the humor in a situation. I've had positions before that were highly stressful, and we all found, those of us that were working in that stressful situation together, that being able to laugh, it does a couple things. It lowers the tension, it breaks the ice, it breaks the tension, but it also gives us encouragement to keep on trying. We'll try something else. It sort of has a little bit of an optimism in it when you can laugh about it too. So it not only breaks tension and lowers tension, but it gives you a little bit of a boost. I've always said, if you have a situation and you can sit there and be depressed about it, or you can crack a joke about it and everyone laugh, why wouldn't we do that? Is there something noble about saying, I'm going to be depressed by this and things suck and everything's lousy and it should be better, and just sit there in the dark? Or can we crack a joke and laugh about it? We know there's a situation, we know we have a problem, we know there's stress, but we can also laugh about it. So let laughter be a part of your life. One caveat: make sure when you make a joke, when you choose to laugh, that you don't do it at other people's expense. It's my opinion that laughter that's at someone's expense, making fun of them, putting someone down, criticizing something they've done, is actually a form of not so much humor. It's a form of hostility. It's a form of anger, and it comes out in an underhanded way, but it's at someone's expense, and not everyone's laughing. Someone may feel foolish, like a loser, very embarrassed, humiliated. That, to me, is not the definition of true or pure humor. We should be able to make a joke without it hurting anyone, without it doing any damage, without it sticking a knife in someone's side. So joking and laughing is fine, but make sure we do it in a way that everyone laughs. It doesn't mean that we can't tease each other about something that didn't go well, but as long as everyone's laughing about it and it's not meant to be a hostile act. And quite frankly, if we look within ourselves and we pay attention to ourselves, we know if we're really doing it to be humorous or if it's going to hurt someone. We know that if you listen to yourself, your inner body. And so make sure when you laugh, put laughter in every day. Look for the humorous things around you, but make sure that it's done without malice, without meanness. And it will help you make your life a much better and happier life. Along those same lines, be hopeful and be positive, be optimistic. The old saying, of a glass being half full or half empty, there's a lot of truth to that. Looking at things as from a negative standpoint is what I refer to it as a downer. It's just sort of discouraging, and quite frankly, if you look at things from the dark side, all the time. People, quite frankly, aren't really going to choose to be around you if they can help it. They'd much rather be around someone who, again, we're not denying there's problems. It's not a thing where we're in denial. We realize there's a situation, but we can be hopeful. And the other thing about being hopeful is that without hope, our life can be pretty empty. Hope is what keeps us going. It's realizing that things can be a problem and that we have serious issues to work out in many cases. But to be hopeful that there's light or there's a solution keeps us going. It keeps our head above water. So we never want to extinguish hope. And if we're a hopeful person and we radiate that, again, knowing that things may not work out the way we wanted them to, or we hope they will, but if we have that good wish, that well-wishing, it gives us a more positive tenor to everything we do and what we exude to others. And it's encouraging to others. And again, we want to be encouraging to other people. Because if we're encouraging to other people, it's coming from inside you and it's helping you also. So that's an important point. I think another important point in appreciating and being grateful is being joyful. Now, what I mean by that, I don't mean jumping up and down and doing somersaults. Just think about how wonderful this world is, and how I mean everything. I don't know much about physics. I don't know much about the natural sciences, but what I've read about atomic particles and subatomic particles, and it's just amazing. And as far as to know that the chair I'm sitting on, the clothes I'm wearing, myself as an individual, the camera, is all composed of the same types of particles. They're different in ways, of course, but the fact that there's a commonality in everything, in plants, in all of life, in everything in this room, is just amazing. And does everybody understand it? Is there a scientist that fully understands it? No, not that I've ever heard of. And where does life come from? I mean, your doctor can explain things about the importance of your heart, importance of the brain, the importance of our lungs, and blood diseases. But when it's all stripped down to the bare essentials, they just don't really know where life comes from, the life that's inside of us. They know what makes us die, but life, just think about how awesome that is, how it's just phenomenal. And do I understand it? Of course not. You can tell by the way I'm talking. I understand very little of particles, but it's just, what's so amazing about it is that I'm alive and I'm sitting here and you're alive watching this. And that's something to be just awestruck and joyful about, that you have the opportunity as a human being to live this life, and why and how it's all happening, we don't know, but isn't it just fascinating? So, we need to look at things from a very positive standpoint. Do we have all the answers? No. Will anyone have all the answers? I doubt it. But we can still be just in awe of how wonderful life is, and the fact that we're connected to all living things because we're made of all the same particles. And I just think that's amazing. There's a connection. There's a connection between you and I. We have so much in common. And don't we often spend too much time focusing on the differences rather than what we have in common? And the last thing that I wanted to leave leave you with is the thought that, we can be grateful and we can be appreciative and we can want to express support and encouragement to others and be uplifting. Okay, but what does all of that imply? It implies action. None of this matters if you sit there and say, Pat, he's got a point. He has a point. I don't understand everything he's saying, but he has a point. None of it will really matter unless you take action and go out and do something with it. And so, let me give you an example. I was reading in a forum a few weeks ago about this gentleman that the topic was on changes, life changes, and people were wondering how to go about it. And he said, well, I can tell you what I'm doing. He said, I started a thing, I don't know why, but I started a thing lately where regardless of how my day went, regardless of what I might expect when I get home, he had a wife and 3 children, I believe. He said, I made a resolution to myself, I didn't tell anyone, that the minute I got home, when I got home, regardless of how my day went, or all of the thoughts in my head, I was going to, when I opened that front door, I was going to smile. I wasn't going to say anything at first. I was just going to smile, and a genuine smile, and try to think of something just nice to say. And he said, what I began to notice is that the atmosphere in my whole family started to change. And then he said, I'm kind of noticing it now. It seems like it's changing with other people I know and people at work. And I don't know quite why that is. But it's really nice and I like it. And it was just a little thing. All I did was decide that I was going to smile. So that shows you how a small thing, consistently done, a small action, can make a big difference. You might want to try that one about smiling. It sets a different tenor, and it helps change an entire atmosphere. But whatever you decide to do, take an action. Something that you're comfortable with, something that you know can be done, something that you feel should be done. And try it out and see how big a difference you can make in the world around you and affect the lives of other people. And because it's so important, if we express our feelings in a positive way, it's a gift to other people. And it doesn't cost a thing. It's a gift to be encouraging and to show gratitude and to show concern, to show love in some way to others. And in the process of it being a gift to others, and it might take some thought for you to follow this, but it ends up being a gift to ourselves. Because when you are nice and kind and uplifting and supportive and generous to others, you'll find that you'll walk away with a good feeling too. And that's what it's all about. Learning to love yourself, learning to love others, and help people find their purpose and mission in life, help you find yours. So I hope this little discussion on some small points about, if you come away with anything today, it should be that you can make a small change that can have a big effect on your family, just like my grandson Gabriel's letter, very short, small, simple letter, written by an elementary school student. But how do you think the mother felt when she read that? How do you think I felt? That was just a little letter for a 6th grade class. And here it is, on YouTube, national, international. I included that letter and a discussion of it in my book, The Great Love Story of Your Life. He never intended for any of that to happen. That's the point. So make those small acts of love, and I'll leave you with this one last thing. I hope that this video makes you feel loved.